Hey guys, just making a quick video here to talk about the difference between physical changes and chemical changes. All right, these are going to be important for us moving forward because when we're doing different experiments and things like that, we need to be able to identify whether it was a physical change that happened or a chemical change. So we're going to talk about the differences between those two things, okay? So we'll start with physical changes. Um, and you'll see up here on the board, I have a few things bullet pointed, some things to look out for expecting a physical change. So first thing would be an expected color change. So for example, if I have water and food coloring, like blue food coloring, and I put the blue food coloring in the water, well, obviously the water is going to turn blue, okay? That would be an expected color change. So physical change, okay? We're just changing the color of it. There was no chemical reaction that took place. We just changed the color. There are going to be times when we're talking about chemical changes where there's going to be an unexpected color change. So we might mix two clear liquids together and it'll turn black. Okay, that would be considered an unexpected color change like we see right down here. Okay, we didn't see it coming. There's no logical reason that we can think of off the top of our heads that would cause two clear liquids mixed together to turn black. So that would be a chemical change because there is definitely a chemical reaction taking place there. Another thing under physical change would be no new substance is formed. Okay, so let's just say like this piece of paper right here. Okay, I rip it. Okay, looks different. There's obviously a change. However, both of these pieces of paper are still paper. Okay, I didn't change the substance. Okay, it is still paper. It looks different. This would be a physical change. Okay, in chemical changes, we're gonna have a new substance here. Okay, so like were I to rip this paper up and then one of them turned into like steak, the other turned into like broccoli, okay, that would be a chemical change. Obviously, that would never happen. That would be awesome. I wish I could do that, but that would never happen. So as long as we still have the same substance that we started with, that is a physical change. All right. Another thing to think of too would be like salt water. All right. So you have water and you put salt in that water and you stir it up and you say, well, hang on a second. This is salt water. Salt water is different than water. Well, that's kind of when we get to the next one, where it's down here where we talk about something that's reversible. If we mix salt and water, can we go back to having just salt and water? And the answer to that would be yes, we can. Okay, so you guys know if we mix salt and water, we end up with salt water. If we were to boil that water, the water would evaporate. If we were to boil the salt water, the water would evaporate and the salt would stay left behind. So we can actually reverse that. So mixing salt and water would be a physical change because we can go back to getting just the salt and water. And then the third one, I kind of skipped over this, change in state of matter. Okay, so let's I have water and then I freeze it and it turns into ice. You say, oh, I had water and now I have ice. That's not a physical change, that's a chemical change because I have something different now. Not necessarily, okay? Actually, not at all, because ice is still water, okay? We just call it ice because it's water in a frozen state. So if it's something that changes states of matter, but it's still the same substance, that's a physical change, okay? A couple things to look for chemical changes. Change in temperature, all right? That's going to be common. Sometimes we'll mix like two room temperature things, and it's going to get hot. Sometimes we'll mix room temperature things, and it'll literally start to freeze, okay? And we'll be doing different examples of that over the next few weeks. That would be an example of a chemical change because there's no logical reason for us, really, when we're mixing room temperature things, for the temperature to change that drastically. But those things do happen with chemical changes. We talked about new substances being formed. We'll do something later on, I plan, where we'll make copper from aluminum, okay? In that case, we start off with aluminum, we end up with copper. There would be a new substance that's formed. That would be a chemical change. A new gas is created. That'll take place in the next video. Okay. In a chemical reaction, a chemical change, there's going to be gases formed. You'll see some bubbling. You might hear some crackling. Those are all keys that a gas is created and indicators that there's a chemical change going on. Other one is irreversible, okay? So we can't go back. We talked about mixing salt and water to make salt water. You can go back to getting just salt and water by getting the water to evaporate, okay? So that would not be a chemical change. That would be a physical change. Chemical change would be, for example, if I were to mix, like we just talked about before, if I were to make copper from aluminum, well, we can't turn that copper back into aluminum. All right, so that would be a chemical change because we can't go back. Cannot go back. All right, or maybe if I cook an egg, for example, I make scrambled eggs. I started off with the, just a raw egg, and then I cook it and it becomes scrambled. I can't unscramble that egg. Okay, it's it's changed. It's changed quite a bit, and we can't go back. So that'd be chemical change. And then we talked about unexpected color changes. Okay, so if I'm mixing, two clear liquids and I end up with something purple or yellow or something like that, that's a chemical change. There's no logical reason for that to have changed colors other than the fact that there's a chemical reaction taking place. Okay, I'm going to keep this up on the board for the next few videos as I go through all these, and we'll use these to help us identify whether physical changes are taking place or chemical changes are taking place. All right, so we will see you guys in a little bit again. Thank you.